Okay, Jeremy,
All right.
tell me your name, where you're from.
Jeremy Abramson from White Plains, New York.
All right. You've been to Israel quite a few times, I understand.
9 times.
There you go. It's pretty great, amazing. How did you hear about GoInspire?
My wife went on a mom's trip with JWRP. Our group that took the moms was the JRE in Scarsdale. When we were talking about planning my son's Bar Mitzvah trip, the Rebbitzin Elisheva Oret, she says, call Razy from GoInspire.
That was it.
I had one conversation with Razy. She introduced me to Avi, worked with Avi for the rest of the way.
Okay. It was really word of mouth.
So we'd taken trips in the past where we've used travel agents, and sometimes we've just grabbed maps and planned our own trip and figured it out ourselves. Sometimes used drivers, sometimes rented cars. We wanted to do something different, and we were having lunch at their house one day, one Shabbos, and I said, I really want something unique. I don't want a typical... I've been to a lot of the sites, and while they never get old, I wanted to do something different. Momentum trips, you hear of these experiences that are just so unique and so different than, here's a menu, check a box. Do you want to do this? Having been so many times in the past, we said we want something that's going to be like no other. We want to kind of get into the kishkas of the land, if you will, and really see some different things. She said, you got to call Razy, you got to talk to Avi. Man, we spent a lot of time together.
Oh, yeah?
We spent a lot of time together planning this trip and adding things, taking things out, trying to be sensitive to a budget, trying to be sensitive to time.
Wow. Who went with you? Was it just your immediate family, or how many were you?
We were 13
Okay.
on this last trip. So this trip was my son's bar mitzvah.
Was son bar mitzvah? Okay. So in terms, comparing it, let's say, to many of your other trips, the planning process, you spoke about that you had a lot of talk with Avi. Did you feel that there was a limit to how much you could talk to him, or he was...
Not at all.
Not at all.
No, it started off with a bunch of emails going back and forth, and then it went to text messages, and then it went into a video call where my wife and I had a call with Avi, and that's where we got into the details of what we were looking to do. I want to say we kind of threw everything in the world at the itinerary and then peeled back from there, as opposed to slowly adding more to it. It's like, for this trip, we're going to use Yerushalayim as a base. And from there, we'll do trips all over the place. That way, at least everyone doesn't have to unpack, repack it. If you don't feel like going on this, whatever, you can skip that day. I have an amazing family. But coordinating things with 13 people wanting to go in all different places, and then also trying to figure out how we're going to split up the cost of everything. My aunt's like, if I want to go here that day, but I want to stop in the afternoon, I don't want to go to this, how much is it? It was a true sense of a balagan. Avi was just cool with the whole thing and really made it easy to come up with a lot of if this, then that scenarios in this itinerary as we were planning and getting the budget part. Obviously, the money comes at the end. You don't know how much it's going to cost until the end. So he was very flexible in working with us. It seemed like he just really wanted us to have an amazing trip. It did not feel like he sold me a single thing. And it almost felt like non-for-profit. To us, it felt like you guys were thrilled with us as a customer. We were thrilled with you guys as a provider. And it worked out. We certainly felt a lot of value in it. After the trip, Avi and I stayed in touch. He knew right out of the gate that we were going to be planning a trip for Emma at the end of this year, Hanukkah 25.
Okay.
So a little bit more locals this trip. We want to be a little bit more chill, but we also want to volunteer. We want to work on the farms. We want to, go down south.
Even though you know your way around, you've been there, you got to bring along, you want to chill more, you'd still be contacting GoInspire and you'd be contacting Avi. Why?
Absolutely. Well, because he's our go-to, right? If we were going to do nothing other than just vacation and chill, I would probably get an Airbnb in a hotel room and probably wouldn't call anybody. But we still want to do things that I feel like, I don't know if it's that you guys have access to this that nobody else has access to, or if it's the knowledge of it that I feel like you guys have the ability to get access to things that aren't typical. They're not typical touristy things. And we did touristy things with the trip. Like he had us on a Jeep tour and we did the ATVs. And so there was definitely some touristy stuff in there. These Israel trips, they're not that often. And these big Israel trips, it's not like we're going again in a few weeks. If you miss something this time, you miss a ride in an amusement park, no big deal. We'll catch it next time we go. This is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We want to make sure that if we're going to do an activity and we're going to spend our time and spend our money, that we're going to use somebody that can get us into the activity without the issue. I felt like you guys had inside access.
Pretty much good access, lots of time, lots of patience, lots of ideas, digging deep in. Everything that you had, you could throw at him. He came back and added to it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And he was able to put it together. It's like a masterpiece. I mean, he's timing everything. He knows where it's going. He knows who to go, what to do. We care about your trip.
That we could tell. This was not an easy expense for us. It was not an easy expense for us to take on. When we saw the initial quote, it was like, whoa. But then when you break it down and you see you got a bus for 18 people, you got a tour guide almost every single day on a trip. When you broke it down and saw the individual pieces of it, it didn't look out of line at all. I tell you, like the VIP, towards the end, we were trying to save a couple bucks, and I wanted to ditch the VIP at the airport, and Avi's like, I think you really want to consider doing it. It's worth the money. And sure enough, we got off the plane, someone standing there with a sign, they walked us right through the whole thing, and it was worth it. I didn't do it on this last trip because I figured, you know what, I can get myself through just me and two kids, but when you start adding in-laws and you start adding...
Would you say there were meaningful moments and unique touches that made a difference? Can you give an example that maybe you didn't say?
It was a lot of things. I mean, we landed there. We did a scavenger hunt in the old city. How creative is that? That's just, I mean, it's a very, very creative way to get something going. I think the youngest one on the trip, he was probably 7 at the time. And then the oldest on the trip was probably late 70s. So how do you engage 7 to 70s? I think that was a great idea. It worked well. The virtual reality and stuff like that was great. One of the most engaging things was definitely... we did an ATV ride that day, and we went to the winery that night. Probably one of the best meals I ever had at Gustazione Winery. Some of the hikes, there was a water hike, the Ainbokek was amazing. I never would have known about that. Now, you might know from your side of the business, any travel agent's going to know that. I didn't know about that. So.
You're maximizing your time, you're maximizing the quality and the aggravation, and you're getting a whole different thing. So that's the difference. So my question to you, how can we get the word out?
I mean, people ask us all the time who you use. It's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine who goes to Israel quite a bit, and he goes, I got a guy. I said, I got a guy. Everyone's got a guy, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Everybody's got a guy, and there are a lot of good people out there. I just think that there's something a little different than us for the right people. People appreciate it. Your wife is a leader, right? And she knows the trips. This is a process that you saw.
My personal style is that I want to go to the top and I want to find the best. When I heard how amazing these momentum trips are, I wasn't expecting to get a travel agent or anything other than I wanted to talk to who plans the momentum trips. I want to talk to them and get some ideas from them. I would say you've probably taken tens of thousands of people to Israel that go on these big trips. I don't know if the average person that goes on a momentum trip would ever know to think to call you guys, having just had this amazing trip. They're probably going to think to themselves, oh, he only does trips for 200 people at a time. I got a trip for 15. I think you have this database of people that have already really enjoyed the experiences you provide that might not know that they can come back to you for a small family trip later.
That's a good subject of an email. Did you know we can do smaller groups for your family and your community?
I really do believe that most people would never think that this major operator who's doing trips for thousands of people can do something for 10.
Yeah. I really thank you. I think that this was very interesting for me. You gave me a lot of good ideas, and it's fantastic. We appreciate it. We're glad you're coming back.
I'm happy to help any way I can.
Thank you. Thank you.